Okay, so let's look at some of the tools that we're going to use for this build. I'm going to keep this build quite simple, so I'm going to limit myself to a limited number of tools. Obviously I've got a lot more different tools for different jobs, but you don't need necessarily a lot of tools for this hobby. First thing you're going to need is a set of sprue cutters for getting your plastic off the sprues. Now there's lots of different options out there, some quite expensive, or you can just get something quite cheap from your electrical store or a hardware store. A cheap pair like this will cost you next to nothing, but it's important that you get something that's nice and flat, not the rounded electrical type, because it means you can't get into the parts. So the smaller really and the flatter they are, the better, and you want to make sure they're sharp and line up quite well, otherwise it just makes a mess of it. Okay, so the next thing that I think is quite vital is a good sharp knife. I normally use a scalpel blade with a handle, using different variety of blade types. This is my tool of choice. Or failing that, you could just buy a cheap craft knife from a craft store, as long as it's a good sharp knife. Now, glue. This is Tamiya Extra Thin Cement, and in my opinion, since coming back to the hobby a few years ago, this is the thing that's really transformed my model making. In the old days, when I used to build the model with the glue that comes with the kit, the poly cement, it would smear everywhere. I'd always ruin the model. I know some guys still use stuff like this, and they do a good job, but I steer clear of this stuff now, and I tend to use exclusively Tamiya Extra Thin. So you can get that pretty much most places. It never used to be widely available in the UK. You'd have to get it in from China or somewhere like that, but it's now much more widely available, so it's very easy to get. It doesn't cost a lot of money, and a bottle like this will last you for quite a while. So if you're going to go out and you want to do this hobby properly, I really recommend this stuff. So click on Amazon or just do a search, and you will find this. This in my opinion, the stuff that's really good. There are other varieties which I've used, and they're just as good, but you know, this is the stuff I just keep coming back to. Right, sanding sticks is the next thing. Sanding. Obviously what you want to be able to do is clean up your model. In the old days I never used to clean anything up. I used to just clean it up with a craft knife, cut the bits off, but now I use a variety of sanding sticks to clean the model up as I'm going. These ones I use are from Flooring Models. I find them really good, and they come in a variety of different grits and for every sort of need really. So from spongy ones so you can get around the corners to quite hard ones, and small ones for getting into small areas. Really useful. Obviously they are quite expensive. You could just go out and maybe get a nail file if you're just starting out and you want to try some things out. I've never really tried them, but I'm sure they'll do a reasonable job. You know, this is almost like a nail file anyway. So, and the last thing I'm going to use in this build for the building stage is a set of tweezers. Just getting in there. My sausage fingers don't really allow me to get into small areas, especially when building a 1/72 scale kit like this, where the bits are quite small. So that is really, I'm going to limit myself to these tools. Obviously when we come to the painting, we'll talk about the tools and things that you're going to need for painting, but these are just the tools that I'm going to use.